As cases and hospitalizations rise,
we're really on the knife's edge.
masking up will soon be the law of the land.
Our lives depend on it, and our economy depends on it.
Governor Polis making masks mandatory.
This is the least costly and simplest intervention that we can do.
Taking action to reverse the track we're on.
We cannot take this virus for granted. The minute we do, it will overtake us.
And preventing Colorado from becoming the next hotspot.
We must take it seriously, or it will deteriorate as it has in other states.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. We're going to start with the data that is driving that new statewide mask mandate. In the past 24 hours, the state reports 571 new cases of the coronavirus in Colorado. And we've only seen cases that high once since early May, and that came just 1 week ago. The state epidemiologist today says our weekly case average has been climbing now since mid-June. And as cases rise, so does the stress on our hospital system. So this is the graph that shows the number of patients with COVID in the hospital each day. And we've seen that number trending up and up. Tonight, 389 hospital beds in use. And that's the largest increase since early June and puts us on track to hit ICU capacity by early September and peaking in October.
And because of the rising cases, Governor Polis has a message for all Coloradans. It's time to mask up.
At midnight tonight, wearing a mask will be state law in Colorado. Denver7's Jessica Porter explains.
The data is beginning to be alarming.
COVID-19 cases in Colorado are not just increasing, but accelerating, and the outlook is grim.
We have the potential to exceed our ICU bed capacity in the state in early September.
To slow the spread, Governor Jared Polis issued an executive order making masks mandatory for everyone 10 and older whenever you're in an indoor public space like the office, grocery store, gyms, and places of worship.
We have to get control of this in our state. We need to prevent this kind of exponential spread.
The decision comes after weeks of pressure from lawmakers and business owners for statewide mask enforcement. And as local governments like Brighton, Castle Rock, and Douglas County have opted out of mask mandates, creating a patchwork of confusion on where to use a mask.
I don't know how in anybody's mind this became a game of political football. It's simple, it's common sense, and it's data. The virus doesn't care what political party you're in.
Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman says he changed his mind on mask enforcement after cases started rising. He now believes they are the most cost-effective public health option to keeping the economy going.
The majority of the workforce leaves Aurora during the morning, comes back in the late afternoon. And so the notion that we can have this patchwork and it would be effective is just not possible.
Public safety personnel will not be required to wear a mask, and you won't be required to wear one when eating at a restaurant, exercising alone, or to be identified. The governor is also putting a 2-week pause on variances, which allowed businesses to reopen beyond the public health order.
We're really on the knife's edge. Many nearby states have shown us what will happen.
Jessica Porter, Denver7.
And without a national effort to produce and distribute supplies like testing kits and protective equipment, the state's innovation response team has been leading that effort here in Colorado. And today, Governor Polis announced that team is now focusing on keeping the virus at bay in our schools.
We have enough medical grade masks that we will be able to send some medical grade masks to school districts. We will be able to help school districts meet the needs of their teachers. We're going to be able to get at least one mask per week for teacher.
And the masks will also go to all school staff members who interact with students.
As of this morning, 39 states are reporting an increase in coronavirus cases, and hospitalizations are rising as well. Florida's Miami-Dade County has already run out of ICU beds and is quickly converting other beds for this use. Florida, Texas, and California all surged past 10,000 new infections yesterday. And in California, restrictions have gone back into place to try to slow this spread.
These alarming trends reflect behaviors from 3 weeks ago, and it will take several weeks to see if our behavior now, including the rollback of previously opened sectors, slows the spread of the virus.
Texas recorded its deadliest day of the pandemic, and Governor Greg Abbott is pleading with Texans to wear masks to avoid another shutdown.
Tonight's unemployment report is a mixed bag. The state only paid out $79 million in benefits last week. I say only because it is the lowest number since mid-April. And the number of continued claims also dropped to its lowest point since mid-April. And both are signs that people are getting back to work. However, about 10,000 out-of-work people filed their initial unemployment claims last week. That's the first increase in initial filings since April 16th.
Right outside the governor's mansion, a growing homeless camp. Look at that, lines the fence. And several people in the area reached out to contact Denver7, saying they are concerned for their safety after someone was seen wielding a machete. Liz Gilardi is reaching out to the city after one woman says her complaints to the police went unanswered.
And she literally just walks around this perimeter of the governor's mansion with this machete.
You can see someone swinging a machete. A woman who works nearby took this video. She couldn't believe what she was seeing.
This is definitely more than just a homeless camp. This is their home now.
A camp that's growing at the corner of 8th and Pennsylvania, where tents line the fence outside the governor's mansion. Another viewer reached out to contact Denver7, saying she called police earlier this week when she witnessed a beating.
That was on Monday. They were beating a man. He was put on his knees and on the sidewalk facing 8th Avenue. His hands were zip tied, and there were several of them beating on him. They threw him into a vehicle.
The women we talked to say they're worried about their safety. That's why they didn't want to go on camera or use their names.
And it was frightening. It was a situation where I thought, oh my God, somebody's being harmed. This is not normal.
Denver7 reached out to the city of Denver and the governor's office. A spokesperson for Governor Polis referred all comments to Colorado State Patrol. CSP told us they're aware of reports of people with machetes, but it's Denver's jurisdiction.
It's uncomfortable. It's not comfortable to walk by.
We talked with one of the men at the camp. He didn't want to do an interview on camera, but he told us more than 30 people stay here. He said many of them met during the early days of the protests in Denver, and he told me this is not like other camps because we have rules here. While we were there, we noticed this sign saying 2 days since the last physical altercation. Viewers who reached out say the city needs to take action.
We're waiting for a tragedy to happen before we react. We're being pushed into a corner. We're not going to react until. Why do we have to wait until someone is hurt?
Liz Gilardi, Denver7.
And Denver police responded to our questions late this afternoon. The department said nothing about plans to address the camp or about the person with a machete there. They are only advised to people concerned, just stay out of harm's way, be a good witness, and call 911 if something happens.
Aurora City Council took another step forward to launch an investigation into the death of Elijah McClain. The 23-year-old died after a violent arrest at the hands of Aurora police and Aurora Fire EMTs. Well, today, a city council committee unanimously approved an independent investigation, which will be led by a civil rights attorney and includes this group will include consultants with expertise on law enforcement, use of force, police and EMT training, and criminal justice. The city is working to include a medical expert who can speak on the use of ketamine, a powerful sedative that was used on Elijah McClain during the arrest. The full council will take up this resolution next week, and if approved, the investigation would begin immediately. And now a plea from the Denver Police Department asking all of us to help reduce gun violence in the city by locking up guns. Police say 33 Denver residents have lost their lives to gun violence this year. 85 others were shot and wounded. And investigators are urging gun owners to use gun locks, safes, and lock boxes and just avoid keeping firearms in vehicles. 327 guns have been reported stolen so far this year, a nearly 27% increase over last year.
Immigrations and Customs Enforcement officers say an attack on a woman on the Highline Canal Trail could have been prevented. Julia Gonzalez, a Guatemalan national, is in custody tonight in Arapahoe County, facing charges for that July 11th attack that sent a woman to the hospital. ICE says he was in custody at the Denver jail on July 9th, but then released the next day despite an immigration detainer request with the jail. ICE filed a second detainer on Tuesday, this time with Arapahoe County, to keep Gonzalez from being released. Aurora police are still working to find a second suspect believed to be responsible for another attack on the Highline Canal Trail just last week.
In southwestern Colorado, crews are working several large fires in Rio Blanco County near Meeker. The largest is called the Fawn Creek Fire. It's burning more than 3,100 acres, with just 5% containment. Lightning started it on Monday, and 2 more sparked up by Tuesday, all within about 8 miles of each other. The Stewart Fire has burned 212 acres. The Wolf Fire has burned 253 acres with no containment. Now, firefighters do continue to make progress on the Elephant Butte Fire in Evergreen. It's now at least 75% contained, and crews are working to find out what caused it. All evacuations and closures have been lifted, except at one park, Alderfer Three Sisters Park, including Evergreen Mountain Trails, will remain closed at least through tomorrow. And Jeffco is hoping to have it back open sometime this weekend, but just be sure and check before you go.
All right, attention backcountry campers, starting today, all campsites at Golden Gate Canyon State Park will require a reservation. Rangers hope this is going to cut down on people not paying to park, going to the wrong site, leaving trash behind, and starting illegal fires. 24 sites are available, first come, first served, year-round. Reservation fee is $18, and you can make that reservation at cpwshop.com. The U.S. Forest Service will reopen Lost Lake near Nederland on Monday after euthanizing a very aggressive 200-pound bear in that area. It's been closed now for more than a week after several people reported their tents were ripped open. Rangers were concerned because this bear seemed to have no fear of humans, and they say it came within 20 feet of the campers there. Another reminder, make sure all food is stored safely out of reach of any animal when you're camping in Colorado.